The rise and fall of the Zulu Empire. In the early 19th century, across the rolling hills and grasslands of southern Africa, a warrior kingdom rose with terrifying speed and unmatched discipline. Its armies moved like thunder, its enemies scattered in fear, and at the center of it all stood one man, Shaka Zulu. Shaka was not born into greatness. He was born around 1787, the illegitimate son of a Zulu chief. As a child, he faced humiliation, exile, and hardship. But those struggles forged him into a ruthless strategist and visionary leader. When Shaka rose to power in 1816, the Zulu were only a small clan among many competing groups in what is now South Africa. Within just a few years, he transformed them into one of the most feared military powers in African history. Shaka revolutionized warfare. Before him, battles were often fought at a distance with throwing spears. But Shaka changed everything. He introduced the short stabbing spear, known as the Ikalwa, designed for brutal close combat. He trained his warriors relentlessly, forcing them to march barefoot across rough terrain to build endurance and toughness. Most importantly, he created new military tactics. His famous buffalo horns formation became legendary. The strongest warriors attacked head-on, while fast-moving flanks surrounded the enemy from both sides. Once trapped, opponents were destroyed. Under Shaka's leadership, the Zulu army became a machine of discipline, speed, and psychological warfare. Villages and rival kingdoms either joined the Zulu Empire or were conquered by it. This period of upheaval became known as the Memphis Cane, the Crushing, a time of mass migration, warfare, and political transformation across southern Africa. By the 1820s, the Zulu kingdom controlled vast territories. Its influence stretched across much of southeastern Africa. But empires built through war often face enemies from beyond their borders. And soon, a new power arrived: the British Empire. By the late 1800s, Britain was expanding aggressively throughout Africa. Colonial officials wanted control of land, trade routes, and resources. Independent African kingdoms stood in their way, and the Zulu kingdom was one of the strongest. Even after Shaka's assassination in 1828 by his half-brothers, the Zulu state remained powerful under later kings like Dingain, Mpande, and eventually Cetshwayo Kampande. King Cetshwayo understood the growing threat posed by Britain. He attempted diplomacy, but the British High Commissioner in southern Africa, Sir Bartle Frere, wanted war. In 1878, the British delivered impossible demands to the Zulu kingdom, demands designed to provoke conflict. When the Zulus refused, Britain invaded in January 1879. The Anglo-Zulu War had begun. The British expected a quick victory. They believed modern rifles, artillery, and imperial confidence would crush the Zulu resistance with ease. They were wrong. On January 22, 1879, the Zulu army achieved one of the most shocking victories ever inflicted on a colonial power in Africa: the Battle of Isandlwana. Over 20,000 Zulu warriors attacked a British camp near Isandlwana Mountain. Using speed, coordination, and traditional tactics perfected over generations, they overwhelmed British forces. More than 1,300 British soldiers were killed. It was one of the worst defeats the British Empire had suffered against an indigenous army. News of the disaster stunned the world. For the Zulu people, Isandlwana became a symbol of courage, resistance, and national pride. But Britain would not accept defeat. The Empire sent reinforcements, thousands more soldiers equipped with advanced weapons, Gatling guns, artillery, and supplies from across the globe. The war turned brutal. At battles such as Battle of Rorke's Drift, the British managed to hold defensive positions against determined Zulu assaults. These battles were later glorified in British history and film, though they often overshadowed the scale of Zulu resistance. Despite their bravery, the Zulus faced impossible odds. They fought largely with spears and shields against industrial-era firepower. By July 1879, British forces attacked the Zulu capital at Ulundi. In the Battle of Ulundi, disciplined British rifle fire and artillery devastated the Zulu army. The kingdom collapsed soon after. King Cetshwayo was captured and exiled. The British dismantled the Zulu state, dividing it into smaller territories ruled by rival chiefs. This strategy weakened unity and prevented another large-scale resistance movement from emerging. Civil conflict followed. The once mighty Zulu kingdom fractured under colonial pressure and internal divisions. Although Cetshwayo was later allowed to return, he ruled only briefly before his death in 1884. Eventually, the territory was absorbed into British-controlled Natal. The Zulu Empire, which had once shaken southern Africa and defeated one of the world's greatest powers in battle, was gone. But its legacy survived. Today, the story of Shaka Zulu and the Zulu Kingdom remains one of the most powerful stories of African resistance and state building. To some, Shaka was a military genius. To others, a ruthless conqueror. But there is no denying his impact. He transformed a small clan into an empire. He reshaped warfare in southern Africa, and the Zulu resistance against colonial invasion became a lasting symbol of defiance against imperial domination. The Battle of Isandlwana still echoes through history as proof that courage, strategy, and unity could challenge even the strongest empire on Earth. The Zulu Empire may have fallen, but its spirit endures, in memory, in culture, and in the history of resistance across Africa. And long after the guns of empire fell silent, the name Shaka Zulu continued to inspire generations. A warrior, a king, a legend.